almost 5 years ago, the same, which has led to the deepening of these crises. And I think people's confidence and that sense of hope and belief has
Oh,
taken
all the
a
buzzwords.
bit of a dent. So we need to rebuild that and rebuild the momentum. So you've got to be more... I can assure you from our
I have to move away from my left.
Okay, you've got to, there's a slight delay in the line, so apologies if I appear to be cutting across you. You've got to be more realistic then. You're accepting that, are you? More
sweat a bit
realistic
off her.
as to what you can expect from the forthcoming general election in the Republic, because it's interesting. I just noticed when you were introduced at the Ardèche yesterday evening in Athlone by Pierce Doherty, he referred to you as the woman hopefully leading us into government.
I'll get her a set of teeth.
From being introduced as a Taoiseach in waiting. When you look at the polls at the moment, latest poll from earlier this month has you on 18%. You won 22-23% at the last election. 2 years ago in the polls, you were sitting at 37%.
Well, look, let me make 2 points. You either are the Taoiseach or you're not. You can't be in some kind of virtual state. We're conceding nothing. We are going into this election to win. We believe passionately, we know that a change in government is absolutely necessary for Irish society.
Oh, the sweat is getting... let me see if I see it.
The housing crisis here in the south is not getting solved until we have Sinn Féin in government. Childcare costs aren't going
This is all lies. This is she's doing a Keir Starmer.
Early years professionals won't get the deal that they need. The cost of living crisis itself.
Get it, I lost she stumbles, she get everything on. You get everything on. Couple of buzzwords now.
Have demonstrated how they govern, and we know, we don't have to speculate. We know from hard evidence that
hard evidence.
We will have more of the same.
Hard evidence. So just after getting told that you're down 17 points in the last 2 years. Oh, your mouth. Take a drink of water. Take your teeth out of the fucking water glass.
Do you want more of the same, or will we make the change to actually address
No,
these issues?
people's going to independence.
Rally people to that message. So we're conceding nothing at all. A change of government is necessary. I want Sinn Féin to be in government. I want us to lead that government. And
I don't even see a proper hair. Jesus. Hello, wee man. Hello. I'm about to fill up, bro. Hello, wee man. Hello. Hello, buddy. Hello. Yeah. What are you doing? Look at me, you know, make up a bit off her back. He's alright, but he's alright. He's going to sleep right at my feet.
The reality is, you can't rule out the possibility of going into government with either or both of them after the general election.
Well, look, Mark, I think I set out for you before that our strong views, the best outcome from the general election.
Let me see it again.
That, in my opinion, creates the best possibility to actually meet the challenges that we're facing.
Her mouth's dry, all the sweat down on her neck. Yeah, man. Easy, feel easy. Boys, I'm on them up now for fuck's sake.
Well, you should also remember that there is political
What's your hair?
Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil here in this jurisdiction, and there are more political players on the pitch. So we go into this election. We're certainly going to run 70 candidates. We're going to run more candidates than ever before. A very strong.
Alright, push you off. Oh, you want the neck pair? Right, hurry up.
And then after the election, the people will ultimately decide the balance of forces. We have to assess where things are at in that context. The important thing is, in my view, is that we deliver.
I can't believe it's a year difference. Well, it's the same day that I'm through.
Really deal with housing and all of the other issues that are pressing down.
Oh, that's new. Jesus, look at that.
It is my firm view, and I don't say this from a point of view of any kind of ego from a Sinn Féin perspective. It's a statement of fact. Housing is not getting sorted out by the current government. All of the evidence tells us
They're
that
taking
it is
her
a
other.
social crisis that we are
Jesus, love to
facing.
say your
We
face and
cannot
all too.
have
Yeah,
another
look.
4 or 5 years of that. Our young people are voting with their feet.
If anybody's watching
They
this,
are
you'll see it better. The
wholly
sweat dropping there.
unacceptable. You have a whole generation locked out of home ownership.
Your
Wholly
mouth won't dry.
unacceptable. Homeless levels that are unacceptable. The list goes on and on, Mark. But
What
you
about
take
the
my word,
borders?
this needs to be
What
sorted.
about
Sinn
migration?
Féin is the party to
Migration
sort
has
it.
been mentioned yet.
We know Sinn Féin's position on a border poll. I wanted to ask you.
What's their position on the border?
Made by the former Taoiseach Leo Varadkar when he called for all parties to have a manifesto commitment
There you
to
go.
United Ireland. Your reaction to that was to welcome him, revealing what you called his inner shinner. What did you mean by that?
I meant that when Leo was Taoiseach, he was rather more circumspect on the issue of reunification. So I think it's very welcome that he has made those comments. I think
Oh, that's sweat dropping on her
for
lip.
what it's worth, I think it is absolutely necessary now that every party on the island engages realistically.
My mouth's dry. I love to stick my gill out.
Constitutional change and transition, referendums, timelines for that. And where I would differ with him perhaps slightly is he talked about moving from an aspiration to an objective. I think we need to move further than that. We need to move into
What about the border, Mary? What about the whole border Ireland?
And you've heard
Got
me
it up.
say again this before, we need a citizens' assembly.
Yeah.
The Dublin government needs to produce
you've
a
made that
green
clear.
paper. All of those things need to happen.
Okay, and my question, I suppose, hints at the what some people have seen as the clumsiness of the phrase that you use, because Sinn Féin, I'm sure you will accept, doesn't have a monopoly on wanting a united Ireland. I mean, for example, the Sinn Féin MLA Matthew O'Toole, who leads the opposition at Stormont, said your language was, to quote him, frankly pathetic and offensive.
Well, I think you've called Matthew there now a shinner yourself. He's actually an SDL.
Well, if I did, that was a slip of the tongue. Obviously, an SDL.
Yes, it was. Yes, well, clearly, yes.
I'm still trying to detract and make him look like a fool for asking a question. I got just clown stroke.
I think, look, anybody...
SDLP bought off too with WHO.
When Leo was in office as Taoiseach, he
What a
did
smirk and a
conduct
slidiness in her face.
that he has. And of course, the issue of the future of our country belongs to all of us. All of us. And by the way, not just those of us from the Republican and Nationalist community. Our unionist citizens have to be part of this conversation as well. But I think
He's trying to do it in the north. He's having a fucking. He's what? Out of the last 10 years, he's been on about 6. If even. No.
Just irony.
What? This is always government. Everybody sitting without being actually in government.
Very well, and I imagine that he laughed when he heard that.
Well,
I wonder what
the smash there.
in the north might have made of it, though, because they are very often pointed to as being critical in terms of the turnout of a border poll, if and when it
Well,
takes
I would
place
imagine
here,
that.
here in the north. And they just might be turned off by that kind of language. They mightn't find it quite so funny.
Well, Mark, I imagine that Alliance voters have a sense of humour too. Certainly any of them that I have ever met.
So why are you bringing on speech that nobody can have a sense of humour?
Really broad mind and open for conversation.
Full of contradictions, yeah.
To have a bit of crack. So I think, frankly, you're making a mountain out of a
But you're bringing on, not going to bring on this speech that you were behind, Mary. You were behind, not the Sinn Féin people, not the grassroots people, because you're against it. You and Michelle O'Neill, two clowns supporting trans shit.
And people who fall somewhere in between all of that along the political spectrum. This conversation and project belongs to all of us. And along the way, we're going to challenge each other. We'll all come with our own ideas. We can also have, at times, moments of levity. We don't have to have our sense of humour taken from the entire conversation.
No.
You tried to do that? Jesus. As it goes about migration and far right. Republic's far right.
I know that working communities, but also some rural communities have deeply resented the fact that as they struggle with those basic of resources, as they struggle to survive, that the government, with no consultation, communication, with no additional resources,
Is anybody listening to this?
For population
If anybody's watching this here, just leave a comment if you got this far.
attention, that there is no doubt. I think we need to be really careful when we're describing what has happened here.
Jesus.
There is
She was calling far right now, she said, oh, well.
far right element. It's small, Mark.
No,
I
oh,
don't think we should overstate the
Jesus, man.
has to be taken on. It's racist, it's ugly, it's but it's small. The average person, the average working class person, rural or in our cities, is not seen by the far right, but they're very resentful.
How about the protesters?
The government has made of the immigration issue, and yes, during
Who's
the
backed
summer,
it?
they said to us very clearly that they want us to step up, to be more vocal and more clear.
That's
We
right now.
launched our own policy in the summer on international protection, and we set out very clearly that for us, community has to be at the
Once
heart
she
of
raises her
this,
brows, you know she's
respect and
lying.
fairness, and that these
All the
sanctions
threat.
cannot be opened in vulnerable communities that are struggling to survive. That's not sensible or reasonable.
Okay, look, I'm sorry to cut across you, but we're out of time. I hope we'll be able to...
Because I'm bored listening there too.